Hello and welcome to Round 9 of Grand Prix Charleston. We have Patrick Cox on the left-hand side of your screen facing off against Ben Friedman on the right-hand side of your screen. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Marshall Sutcliffe.
Hey, everybody.
And this is the final round of day one.
All right, so let's see what kind of a matchup we have here. It looks like Island and a Hollowed Found. That doesn't tell us a whole lot yet. If this is – all right, now we know exactly what we're facing on Ben Friedman's side. He is blue-white, probably that flash deck, the tempo-based aggressive deck. I wouldn't call it aggressive at all, but a tempo-based deck. And it looks like it's going to be a mirror match here, most likely.
Yep, Ben Friedman started things off with Rune Shatter's Pike, and Patrick Cox plays Augur of Bolas, getting a Thought Scour.
Ben using the opening to resolve one of the more important spells in the matchup, the Pike. Goes on any creature and makes it good. Now, this is going to be kind of a funny match to watch because what we're going to be seeing is a lot of spells played on the other person's turn.
Yeah. A lot of the spells in both of these decks have either flash or instant, so they can be cast later on during the opponent's turn, which gives them sort of the element of surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Augur of Bolas is going to come in. Thought Scour is going to get cast by Pat Cox. Didn't quite see what he milled because
his graveyard's
a little bit off the
screen, and we're going to need to see that because it certainly becomes relevant. One of the things that you learn when you kind of dive into these blue-white decks is that they actually are very graveyard-based. A card like Rest in Peace actually puts a big dent in the game plan of a deck like the ones that we see here. Now, we see that Patrick Cox has missed a land drop. He main phase went for the Thought Scour to try to hit a land, and he whiffed. He's passed a turn back. Ben Friedman played a land and just shipped the turn right back to him. Now it's on Patrick.
That's not good. I mean, mana advantage, I think, in this matchup is pretty important.
Absolutely. And it looks like he just had to discard, so cleanup step is happening here. Not good news for Pat Cox, as he's just got a very simple-looking Augur of Bolas. Now, Ben Friedman played a land, passed the turn, and on end step, Pat said, well, I'll make a Snapcaster Mage, and he's drawn really a pretty ideal land here. He's drawn a Glacial Fortress, and he's going to attack for 3. Now, the fact that Ben Friedman didn't play a Restoration Angel on his turn is leading Pat Cox to believe that he probably just doesn't have one, so he's going to attack. But he does, in fact, have one, and he's going to play it.
Yeah, Restoration Angel comes down. No creatures to use its enter the battlefield ability, but it is going to block one of Pat's creatures, likely the Snapcaster Mage.
Well, let's see if he's got he's got an Unsummon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a play. Unfortunately, it's a very short. Yeah, it's a very short-term play. It's only going to push through 3 damage as he plays a second Augur of Bolas. Let's see if he finds anything from it. He does not. Nothing's going
Bad
right
luck
for him.
Pat.
Yeah, he just can't quite seem to get anything going.
And the end of turn Thought Scour for Ben Friedman. He's going to mill Snapcaster Mage and Island before untapping to go to his 6th turn. And Ben can, of course, finish a game off quickly, as that Rune Shatter's Pike will continue to be able to grow the power of the creature that it's equipped to as the game progresses, as Ben casts more instants and sorceries. But
I'm assuming that Cavern is on Angel.
Yeah, you have to imagine. Yep, the Cavern of Souls is on Angel.
We can't quite see Pat Cox's graveyard. Maybe we can get him
from our spotter on the floor. And again, Ben is going to try casting the Restoration Angel. And another unsummon comes from Pat Cox. So Pat Cox might be able to, if he's got 4 more unsummons.
Yeah, I mean, Snapcaster Mage is a card that he plays in this deck, so that's also a possibility. I mean, this doesn't seem like a super likely way to actually we see Rashad's making some adjustments there.
We still cannot see his graveyard, but
we see his pretty sweet Han Solo sleeves, though. You should check those out.
Those are pretty sweet.
Blaster and everything.
I don't know who shot first, but so Pat is going to try to resolve a Rune Shatter's Pike of his own. Let's see if Ben has something to say about that.
This definitely seems like an important one.
Yeah, Ben does not seem to have a negate. Instead, he's going to end of turn think twice after
this is actually really important. Yeah, I see Thought Scour, Unsummon, Rewind, Unsummon, Sphinx's Revelation. Those are all active on the Pike.
Yeah, that's
6 of them.
pretty important.
Yeah, so very important.
If he has just one more unsummon, that's not quite game. That's 10 damage, but or 11 damage. If he's unsummon in another instant or sorcery, that might be the game for Ben Friedman, or for Pat Cox. So he's going to try to equip to Snapcaster Mage, the Runechanter's Pike. Ben seems to say that's okay. And looks like we're going to move to attack step just with the Snapcaster Mage. We know Ben has Restoration Angel in his hand because it's been repeatedly bounced using Unsummon. Is Ben going to cast it one more time?
You think Pat Cox is expecting an unsummon coming his direction, though?
Yeah,
there it
go.
is.
Unsummon. He at least equipped it to the right creature, right?
Indeed.
Pat has the ability now to cast that Snapcaster and get some more value from it. Ben's going to finish Pat Cox's turn by casting Restoration Angel, which now can be equipped with Pike and get +3/+0 and first strike. Threatening 6 power, 6 damage. So Ben thinking about what he wants to do during his turn. He's going to cast Augur of Bolas. Pat seems to be okay with that. Let's see what Ben gets, if anything. Does not look like he revealed any instants or sorceries, so he'll put those 3 on the bottom. And is he going to equip that Runechanter's Pike? Or play another Augur of Bolas? Equipping the Restoration Angel with Runechanter's Pike and attacking for 6. But Azorius Charm is going to put Restoration Angel on the top of Ben Friedman's deck.
You know, I was calling this a blue-white tempo deck, and that's a fairly big tempo hit right there.
I mean, that's going to be a pretty important tempo play to allow Pat Cox to get back into this game. Ben's had the mana advantage for a while. Pat has been struggling on a couple lands. But now looks like Pat has the ability to take over the game, especially with that Runechanter's Pike.
Well, I mean, they both got a Runechanter's Pike, so...
Right, but Pat's is threatening 7 damage in addition to the creature, right? He's got
So
7.
then it's just an attrition battle where they just trade, or...
It depends. I mean,
they both will have first strike, right?
Depends on their hands.
All right, so Snapcaster Mage on an unsummon is the assumption here.
You have unsummon your Augur of Bolas. Do you have a
now,
negate?
does he have... Yeah, I don't think... are they running negate in the main deck?
They might be.
Yeah,
we don't have their list, unfortunately.
I'd be kind of surprised, but even then... Oh, so what he decided to do instead was to Thought Scour target... He flashback Thought Scour targeting Ben. He milled away his angel.
That's a good play.
I mean, if that angel is the biggest concern for him, then yeah. He could have got in a bunch of damage there potentially, but he didn't have the second mana, it looks like, to equip the Pike anyway, so it would have only been 2 damage that he's getting in, so he decided to be patient.
So Pat passes the turn back, and flashback Think Twice is going to happen for Ben. And flashback another Think Twice.
All right, so it's very nice for Ben Friedman there to be able to draw a couple of cards and kind of keep things moving in his direction.
Another
and
Augur
he taps
Bolas.
the Cavern, which we assume is on Angel. So
yeah, it is on Angel.
It is on Angel, so he's not representing a Restoration Angel here at all. Don't know how relevant that is anyway, but.
But a Restoration Angel for Pat Cox is going to get Essence Scattered because his Cavern of Souls is not on Angel.
That's right.
It's on Human. So to end Ben's turn, he's going to cast Hallowed Fountain.
I think it's on Wizard.
On Wizard?
Probably.
For the Augur of Bolas's.
Yeah, well, Snapcaster's a wizard, too.
Sure, sure.
All right, Chip's turn back. Let's see if Ben can get some advantage. He still has the mana advantage by a pretty significant margin here.
Thought Scour.
All right.
Mill 2 instants.
Yep, 2 instants. So his pike is getting stronger here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Equal to Pat's pike.
It looks like he's ready to start trading, or not even trading. Right now, Pat Cox's Runechanter's pike isn't even equipped to anything, so this would just be a chump block.
Yep. And
Although Pat is at 20, he doesn't have to do anything, but he is going to block, and he's going to try to get some value out of a Restoration Angel here. Looks like there's going to be a Snapcaster Mage in response. I'm not sure if the Angel's on the stack or if he let it target first or what's going on with that.
I assume it's on the stack so he can flash back Essence Scatter.
All right, so Essence Scatter, and then that just means that the Augur of Bolas dies.
And Ben passes it back to Pat. Let's see what Pat has at his disposal. Looks like he's going to equip the Augur of Bolas with the Runechanter's pike.
And just say go. This gives him the opportunity to trade off Augur of Bolas if he so wishes. Now, if Ben can find a way to bounce Pat Cox's Augur of Bolas, then he can get in for a nice chunk of damage here. All right, he says, sure, I'll trade. Why do you think Ben decided to trade there?
I'm not sure.
Do you think he just has more creatures?
Or he thinks he has more creatures. If he's slow rolling like a Moorland Haunt, then that makes perfect sense. But it doesn't make too much sense now that Pat has the Moorland Haunt, right?
Yeah.
Pat's going to be able to get more value out of his creatures.
That's right, and Pat has a pretty well-developed graveyard there as well, so his Runechanter's pike.
Yeah, I mean, also Ben doesn't have any flyers, so Pat just activates Moorland Haunt and equips it with Runechanter's pike.
But why didn't Pat activate his
I'm
Moorland
not sure.
Haunt there? Huh. I thought he was going to make a token. Does he have Dissipate or something that he wants to hold up? He says, sure, let's keep trading our guys.
Ben post-combat is going to cast Thought Scour again. Milling 2 lands and drawing, I believe, a 3rd land.
Was it a Moorland Haunt?
I don't think it was. Snapcaster is going to get equipped with a pike. And now, if Ben attacks, it's going to be wondering whether or not Pat wants to trade, but he just passes the turn. Pat makes a Spirit token, untaps. And it looks like that Runechanter's pike is going to add 3, 4, 5, 6 power to the equipped creature. So Pat's threatening to deal 7 damage here. Unless Ben has... no, but Pat just passes it back. He's afraid.
What do you think he's afraid of here?
Like end of turn... Well, that still wouldn't do it. I'm not sure.
Do you think he's just trying to grind him out? I mean, do you think he figures, look, I've got a Moorland Haunt and you don't, so let's just trade your creatures all day and then I'll get more of them? I mean, he's sitting at 20. It's like he could take a hit here, right?
But Ben's going to cast a gigantic Sphinx's Revelation.
Oh, man. Is he just going all in here on it? Just every...
Yeah, I guess all but 3.
He wants to leave up a Dissipate or something?
Yep. So is that 6? Does he want to make it 7?
And Pat says, I have a response. I'll make a 1/1.
It's a lot of cards in Ben's hand.
Yeah, that was a huge play.
He's going to unsummon the token that was equipped.
It looks like Ben has just swung this game firmly in his favor.
I mean, you don't draw 6 cards every day and lose.
That's exactly. And he also gained a bunch of life there, getting back out of range of even a really nasty Rune Chanter Spike.
Yeah, I believe Ben's actually at 18 and not 12. But hopefully we'll get that fixed for you.
Do we know why Ben didn't attack there? Or?
I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I still believe that Ben is at 18 life.
I think Ben's at 18 life. We're trying to get it corrected to make sure. I want to be sure.
Third time's the charm.
See,
Thought Scour from Pat.
Pat Cox's graveyard is now intruding all the way into the play area. Again, this is really very much a graveyard-based deck in a lot of ways. And
yeah, a lot of it's taken apart by having a Rest in Peace in play.
All right, so he's just going to attack in there.
Yeah, what is that for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Azorius Charm is going to take out that token.
Put it back on top of your library.
But Dissipate for Pat Cox.
Ooh, so he's actually going to get in a nice big hit here. Although Ben Friedman now gets to untap with a full grip and just a ton of lands. It's hard to imagine that Pat Cox can find a way to...
yeah, if Ben has like another Rune Chanter's Pike here, that would be the game.
I think he's counting it up. Yeah, that is probably exactly why he's counting it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe. Well, he can cycle that Azorius Charm.
Does he have another Pike?
I don't know. I can't see there. He's hiding his hand pretty well.
Yep. He's
does have a
Moreland Haunt.
Yep,
and there's the other Pike. He says
play
cast.
And
equip.
Cycle my Azorius Charm and kill you.
Yep. Cycles it to draw a card. And it looks like he's already done the counting, and that is going to be 9 instants or 10 instants of sorceries in his yard. Pat Cox is going to make sure. Which makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it.
Ben Friedman wins the first game here in round 9 of Grand Prix Charleston. Up 1 game against Pat Cox.
Most important card?
Rune Chanter's Pike.
Sphinx's Revelation?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, Rune Chanter's Pike, a lot of the game revolved around
of the game, right?
Like yeah, but like resolving that Sphinx's Revelation really just felt like it put it away for Ben. I mean, he, was able to untap and just had the world at his fingertips, basically. Even after Pat was able to push through some amount of damage with that Dissipate, it just felt like he's not going to be able to get through all of the things that...
So we're going to get a quick look at 2 undefeated players, Josh Layton versus Todd Anderson. Is that Jace's Phantasm in play under...
What the heck?
Todd Anderson's side?
It's 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, he's
wow,
undefeated.
Those must just be 5/5s in his deck. Like, again, we saw that just now with our feature match there, that it's just like Graveyard gets huge in this deck. Oh, man,
it's
where's Rest in Peace when you need it?
Yeah, exactly.
Rest in Peace is savage.
And Josh Layton, like we saw earlier today, is playing the same deck Brad Nelson is playing. The Junk Ramp Reanimate Hoof deck.
Hoof deck.
David Hasselhoof.
Yeah. Hoof 'em. Yeah, that card comes out of nowhere.
And Lingering Souls for Josh Layton, sitting on 23 life versus Todd Anderson's 16.
Now, we can't quite see Todd's graveyard or how big it is. I'm assuming that those Jace's Phantasms are not live yet, or else they'd probably be turned sideways.
Yeah, I think he just cast him the last turn.
Okay, that's what the 2 mana's for there?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Deathrite Shaman, though. That's pretty good against Todd Anderson's Jace's Phantasms.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Takes a while.
And Flashback Lingering Souls. I see Craterhoof Behemoth on the top of Josh Layton's graveyard. If he's got,
an Unburial Rites or something? Oh, yeah.
I think that's game.
Oh, he could hoof him. No doubt about it.
Hoof Master.
Core Hoofmaster. All right, looks like he's going to make a token.
With Moreland Hunt. And does he have a Dissipate in his hand, Todd?
Yeah, he's got a Dissipate and he's also got a Thought Scour. So if those Phantasms aren't online now, pretty likely that they will
Well,
be.
and also Todd has an answer to an Unbarrel Rights to bring back the hoof. So Todd's going to attack with his team, and now Josh has to decide how he wants to block. And looks like he's going to put some guys in front of the Angel and the Spirit Token. And use Thought Scour.
He drew an Unsummon. That seems
good.
like a pretty relevant draw here. I think it's interesting that we see Unsummon now, by the way, in Standard.
Yeah, instead of Vapor Snag.
Yeah, well, it's just like Unsummon. I never saw it get play at all before Vapor Snag, and then Vapor Snag was like just good enough and ended up being very good, and now people are like, oh, I guess Unsummon's good enough too. I love Unsummon as a card, though, so I'm pretty happy to see it. Although, really, it's just because of Snapcaster, right?
Yeah, Snapcaster Mage makes it really good. Makes it into a Flash Mana War, which is, you know, pretty powerful.
Flash of War, sweet.
So Todd Anderson's Spirit Token and Restoration Angel bite the dust. And still Todd's second main phase, but he passes it back to Josh Layton.
All right, a little graveyard check from both players. This is certainly relevant. The graveyard in both players' strategies.
Yeah, how many cards are in the graveyard? What cards are in the graveyard?
That's right. I still didn't get quite a chance to see if Josh has an Burial Rights in his yard.
But I mean, there is 10 or more cards in one of the graveyards because Josh fell to 13 after that last attack.
Right.
Those 5/5 Jace's Phantasms.
Yeah, for those of you just joining, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth here at GP Charleston with Ben Schwartz.
Hey guys, we're going back to the other match, Pat Cox versus Ben Friedman.
All right, back to the hand solo sleeves here.
And play has started. Augur of Bolas finds a Thought Scour for Pat Cox.
Both of these players look like sitting at 7-1, so they're going to be making day 2 either way, but setting yourself up at X-1 coming out of the first day is critical to making a run at the top 8. So this match carries a lot of importance for both of these players.
Ben is going to cycle Azorius Charm here. And looks like he drew a Moreland Haunt for the turn. Does he want to play that? Yep, and he's going to cast Geist of Saint Traft.
Oh wow, Geist of Saint Traft. Okay. The most recent version of this blue-white deck doesn't even run Geist of Saint Traft in the main deck.
Does not have flash, so.
That's right. And but some of them do have it in the sideboard. That might be what we're seeing here from Ben. He also might have it main. I haven't seen.
And let's see what Pat can come up with. End of the turn, he's going to cast Thought Scour. I guess this is his main phase, right? Yeah, he played a land. Yeah, it's his main phase.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Pat is on the play, though.
So he hasn't played a land yet, but this is still his.
He might not have, yeah. Yeah, that was all end step.
Okay,
He's just going to play a Snapcaster for value. Just 2/2 Flash Bear. It's a drop bear.
Ambush Viper.
Yeah, Ambush Viper without Death Touch. Ooh, there's a card.
Talran.
Yeah, Sky Summoner, I really like him. And it looks like, in the blue-white matchup, there's not that many ways to really permanently get rid of Talran. So if Patrick Cox gets to untap with Talran in play, you got to figure he's going to get an insane amount of value out of it.
Yeah, but I'm sure Ben Friedman doesn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to see what he can do. First, he's going to Thought Scour.
Target me, and he goes with and he gets a Snapcaster.
And a Think Twice milled.
Yeah, and a Think Twice. Okay.
Ben mulling over his options.
He's got a full grip. It looks like he's going to play a cavern. Not sure what it's naming.
But he's going to attack.
Is he really? So if he does, okay, it's naming wizard. No, he expects to see the Snapcaster Mage jump in front, but yeah, he decides against it, and he just passes a turn back. So Patrick Cox does indeed get to untap with a bunch of cards in hand and a Talrand in play. This is going to be very good for him in the long run.
So Snapcaster is going to get in the red zone. That's going to drop Ben down to 17.
Ben has no... Yeah, he does have one creature in his yard, although he doesn't have the mana to activate his Moorland Haunt currently.
Instead, he's considering blocking. Oh,
wow.
wow.
He's just going to block with a Geist Saint trapped on a Snapcaster Mage.
Going from considering attacking to...
That's interesting. I mean, he's at... Well, I mean, you got to figure if he's not attacking... That is interesting because you would think that Patrick Cox would have made that trade, right?
Yeah.
Ben Friedman must have thought that he wouldn't. Because he could have got in for 4 damage if he thought he would.
He could have just, bounced off of the Augur of Bolas.
It's true. Take 4.
So think twice, make a 2/2.
Wow, think twice, make a 2/2, and think twice is going to be in the yard. He's got his mtgmom.com stickers there. He's a big supporter.
Flashback, maybe think twice. Yep, flashback, think twice, make another 2/2. Let's see if Ben Friedman has something to say about that. I don't think so. Pat's going to untap and go to his turn. He's asking Ben what that cavern is naming. He's naming Wizards.
Still Wizard.
Wizards of the Coast. And Pat's going to get in with all but his Talrand.
So that's 6 damage, or 5 damage, excuse me, coming over. And Patrick Cox, he's in a very good position here.
Snapcaster at end of Ben's turn.
What can Snapcaster hit? See, there's an Azorius Charm.
And
Thought Scour. He's just going to Thought Scour himself, it looks like. Pat says, sure. And he hits an Azorius Charm. And he's drew another Azorius Charm, so he's going to cycle it, but Pat says, rewind it. How did he pay for it, though? Ah, there it is, yep. So he rewound, and he basically just got a Drake out of the deal.
Well, I mean, you got to counter it, right?
Yeah, prevented a draw step.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be tough for Ben unless he boarded in, like, Supreme Verdict.
Somewhat?
Supreme Verdict.
Oh, okay.
To get out of this jam. Augur of Bolas. Reveals 3 lands.
Nothing. Although, I don't know if he wants lands right now or not. It's hard to see. I can't see his hand quite.
It does look like he has a Supreme Verdict, though.
In his hand?
Yeah, I think so. And it's tough to see.
Well, he can't cast it currently. Okay, now he can.
But he's just going to pass the turn and Thought Scour.
Wow, Thought Scour and myself make another Drake. Talrand is doing huge work here for Pat Cox. It's produced 8 power in the air.
Yeah, I mean, with cards like Dismember gone,
Uh-huh.
the ability for these blue-eye temple decks to deal with their opponent's Talrands is really
yeah, which is great, I think.
really gone.
Talrand the Mirror Breaker. I mean, in this case he is. So he's going to bash in there for 8. It's going to drop Ben down to 6. And Ben's got to keep digging here. He's going to flash back. Think twice. What did he hit there? A Geist?
Yeah.
Geist isn't going to do it.
That was on a turn.
Is that a Sphinx's Revelation?
Yeah.
Is that what you saw too?
Yep.
All right. Is that enough? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 4, 6, 8. If Patrick Cox plays no instants or sorceries here, I don't think that's going to do anything. I mean, I think Patrick probably has
Yeah.
the ability to interact with that and pretty easily.
I think Patrick has this game pretty handily.
I think so too. Snapcaster Mage, what are you targeting? Does it resolve?
Yep, targeting Thought Scour, cast Thought Scour on myself, get another 2/2. Come on, Ben. You don't see the writing on the wall?
Right now, there's 10 power in the air for Patrick Cox, and Ben Friedman sitting at 6 with no blockers. So he is going to have to come up with some pretty special stuff to get out of this spot. I can see him living through this turn, but subsequent turns aren't getting any better for him either.
It's going to be tough for him to live through this turn, too. Like, if
Yeah.
Pat just has a counterspell for the Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, Ben can have a few other things too, but yeah, a counterspell pretty much will put him away. He says, I'm
Unsummon,
going to unsummon something.
probably one of the Drakes.
Yeah, probably just let him do it.
Well,
No, I guess not. You
negate,
just negate that
get a
right now.
guy.
I mean, one of the Drakes, he's still dead.
Yeah,
Two of the Drakes, he's still dead.
yeah. I think that Ben's plan was to unsummon and then cast Sphinx's Revelation for 3.
Okay.
But that's
Yep,
it,
and Ben
Pat
says-
Cox evens things up at 1 game apiece here at round 9 of Grand Prix Charleston.
A pretty intricate mirror match here. There's a lot going on.
A lot of interesting interactions.
It's got to be really tough for these players, too. I mean,
You
they've
see-
been playing all day long, and
Yeah.
this deck, I mean, at least in my opinion, isn't particularly easy to play.
Yep. You see some top talent over in the feature match area. Alex Magilton, who top 8'd last weekend at Grand Prix Chicago, is facing off against Patrick Chapin. Both of them have 1 loss. Shahar Shenhar is playing against
Brad
Brad
Nelson.
Nelson.
Yeah.
and Pat Cox versus Ben Friedman, like we saw. And then, of course, Todd Anderson versus Josh Ardelate, 2 undefeateds, facing off against each other.
And it looks like there's a scoop happening up there as well. I don't know who won that one, though. We're going to
Right.
see a match slip hit the table, or are they going to go to a game 3 here? Yeah,
they're
it
gonna
looks
go-
like they're still playing. Yeah, really, really quick look.
So quick that if you blinked, you missed it.
So they're 1-1. Yeah, they're going to game 3. All right, so we're going to get a game 3 to try to stay undefeated on day 1 here. Be
Yeah.
interesting to see if Todd Anderson puts together a run here.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of success on
He claims
some
that
lower level
the
circuits.
independent circuit was tougher than maybe the Pro Tour. That was his claim.
I wouldn't hold him to that one too much. Everybody, I've said a lot dumber stuff than that, and I don't, you know what I mean? You probably don't, do you? Look at you. So good to be you. Don't you touch my pen. Don't you even think about it.
But, yeah, it's interesting to see. It looks like maybe Alex Magilton will make back-to-back Grand Prix top 8s. That's something to watch out for.
Yeah, it's an impressive, especially in 2 different formats.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Rashad.
He's having a nice conversation.
You see him? Yeah.
So we're going to a deciding game 3 in the Ben Friedman Pat Cox match. You see the crowd that's gathering to watch the final round of day 2 here at Grand Prix Charleston.
Yeah.
Very scenic Grand Prix Charleston.
Scenic. That's interesting. We've got 2 game 3s here on the last round of the day in our feature match area.
I see Reed Duke walking to the result slip box with a win in hand.
Not only a win, a thumbs up.
Well, he always gives thumbs up.
Even loses.
He's a happy guy. I've never seen Reed mad once in my life.
That doesn't mean he's happy.
Alex Hayne also is walking up with a win.
Yeah, they're chatting with each other.
Both players at the Players' Championship this past year.
Yeah, Alex had a really good start to the Players' Championship. Reed had a pretty rough go at the whole entire Players' Championship. Jace's Phantasm seems really sweet.
It seems cute.
You know it only costs 1 mana.
You know what else costs 1 mana?
What's that?
Delver of Secrets.
This is a 5-5. That was only a 3-2.
More likely that it's going to be a 3-2 than a 5-5.
That is absolutely true.
Although it is nice that Jesus Phantasm starts off with flying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, actually, that's pretty important when you're playing Runechanter's Pike as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be cute.
I mean, Todd's having success with it. He's undefeated going into the ultimate round.
Yeah, we think that that's in his board, though, huh?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
There you get Rashad staring down the camera.
Look at him.
But it looks like the players are keeping their opening hands and are getting ready for, oh no, Pat Cox takes a mulligan here in the deciding Game 3 of Round 9 at Grand Prix Charleston. Wow.
Did you just have some Red Bull? Easy. Easy, buddy. We'll get you some sleep in just a few minutes, I promise.
Minutes? They have a lot on the line here.
All right. Fair enough. I lied to you.
They're both 7-1.
They do indeed, and I don't know. It seems like taking a mulligan with this particular deck isn't that bad. Is that fair to say? Do you think?
I mean, I know that with the old Delver deck, taking a mulligan wasn't as bad as it is in some decks. You get to see so many cards with all of your cantrips, and you can gain back the selection of your cards with the cantrips. But Pat Cox is fine with one mulligan, and will cast turn 1 Thought Scour.
Turn 1 Thought Scour himself. He mills away an Augur of Bolas and an Unsummon. Let's see if Pat can keep hitting land drops. He does, although it's a Moorland Haunt this time. Naming Wizard, I'm assuming, and he's going to play an Augur of Bolas, which is also a wizard, and he sees 3 lands. They're all going to go to the bottom.
Wow. Unfortunate for Ben Freeman. End of turn. Think Twice is going to get cast by Pat Cox.
So he is, like you said, I mean, already he's seen extra cards. Now, he's just cycled, basically, but he's seen a whole bunch of extra cards. So, you can usually get to what you need. See if he has a white mana source here. He does not.
That's
although, which, he doesn't need one quite yet, but could have used one there to make a token.
Augur of Bolas gets in, dropping Pat down to 19 life. And Pat's going to flashback Think Twice in a turn. But no turn 3 play from Ben. He really wanted to cast like a Geist of St. Traff here. Well,
oh, yeah.
Pat, doesn't have any action.
Yeah.
Pat finds a white source in the form of Glacial Fortress and passes the turn back to Ben. Ben's going to cycle Azorius Charm in a turn. Draws another land on his turn. And continues to bring the beats with the Augur of Bolas, chipping away 1 point at a time. End of turn, Pat's going to play Restoration Angel. Ben's going to counter it.
Did Pat do that to play, like, to not let rewind? Like, why did he play it on end of turn and not just flash it in and block?
I'm not sure.
All right. I mean, it opens up to some sorcery speed removal, but I don't know if he's that worried about Detention Sphere. Yeah.
So Pat plays a Hallowed Fountain untapped, threatening to do something on his opponent's turn. End of turn, Restoration Angel's going to come down with 1 mana up. Does he have a Dispel? He must have just drawn the Dispel then.
He must have what?
I guess he
just had 4 lands before. Yeah, so. All right, he says, you know what, I'll play my own then. You get one, I'll get one too, except for mine's actually going to get some value.
Yeah, I'm going to flicker away my Augur of Bolas. Looks like Alex Matchison defeated Patrick Chapin in the feature match. So Alex will start tomorrow with 8 wins, 1 loss. Patrick Chapin at 7-2. So Talrand comes down, but Ben now tapped out because of the
Wow,
restoration
yeah.
angel.
So Patrick found a window to get Talrand in there, and he's even got a mana up potentially, so he might even get a Drake out of the deal.
I believe this is Welcome to Value Town, population Talrand's Sky Summoner.
It might be, especially if he gets to untap. Even then, though, he could easily have a Thought Scour or an unsummon here.
Yeah, Thought Scour, make a 2/2.
There it is.
Let's go.
Get a Mom token in there.
Mill 2, draw a card.
And it does look like, yes, he gets to untap as well. So this is exactly what happened in the second game, and it eventually led to Patrick Cox winning that game pretty easily with a ton of Drakes in the air.
Passes the turn back with 6 mana up.
Yeah, that Restoration Angel is going to hold back the Drakes for a while here.
But I think that this game favors Patrick if things are, if there's parity on both sides, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, Rune Chanter's Pike for Ben. That could throw a wrench in the plans of Mr. Cox.
All right, he's going to Thought Scour again. That's going to get him yet another token.
Did he
keep
mill a Think
moving
Twice?
through his library.
No, he milled a Talrand, it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Talrand and a Thought Scour. Snapcaster Mage. So Snapcaster Mage looks like it's going to get him at least another Drake here. Is he gonna flash back and unsummon to take out that Restoration Angel while Ben's sitting only on 3 mana? Can't just flash it right back in.
Yeah, maybe. So you can get in some damage.
It gets in a big hit, although I don't know if that's really the long-term plan that he can use. What is he doing? Thought Scour. He's just going to make another Drake.
Okay.
And draw another card.
3 Drakes now.
3 Drakes, and he's got 1 mana up currently.
2 mana up.
Oh, sorry, there's another one. Yep, 2 mana
Hallowed
up.
Fountain and Glacial Fortress.
Thank you.
So Ben passes the turn back. Pat Cox gets 1 more untap step. I think there's only about 5 minutes left in the round.
All right, Cavern of Souls now. That could certainly be relevant here. It's naming Wizard, though, so it's not for a Restoration Angel or anything like that. But and there's a Rune Chanter's Pike. Is this going to resolve?
Well, then I think an unsummon will spell the end of the game for Ben Friedman, or very close to it.
But he's going to play it safe and just ship the turn back. Patrick Cox has shown a lot of patience here. He isn't in a hurry.
So Ben's got to make sure he doesn't die on his following turn. Pat's presenting him with quite a bit of damage.
There's a ton of pressure right now,
Yeah.
and it's just that one Restoration Angel. I mean, and Pat could have equipped up a Drake and just battled there if he wants to. He's decided against it, or he could even just equip up his own Angel. He certainly has options.
I mean, if he's got another instant or sorcery, he can cast that, get another Drake. If he wants, he can use Moorland Haunt to get another token. But wow.
What is that? Oh, it is Supreme Verdict? Oh, man. That is just devastating here.
Does Pat have like a Dissipate? He was holding up that mana, the 5 mana.
But it doesn't work. It's uncounterable.
You know, he can. A kid can dream.
Sure.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, he even gets a Drake. It also dies. But what he can do here is, he can still make a token and equip it with his Pike. I mean, all the creatures are going to be gone. Is there any reason why Ben didn't attack with his guys?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm not saying that it would have gotten anything done, but isn't it correct to just jam your guys in there before? I mean, you know that the Supreme Verdict is going to resolve.
Well, Supreme Verdict resolves. Say goodbye to all of Pat's friends. But I wonder how much power that Runechanter Spike's going to add.
Yeah, we'll probably have to get a count from our floor guy to figure out when. I bet you Pat
Pat
will count it up. He does make a spirit, and I mean, he's a little vulnerable to unsummon here, but he's got a ton of mana, and it's going to be the same result anyway, so he probably just equips and just goes for a hit here. It's got to be 10-ish.
Yeah, probably around that much. Maybe Pat has a second Runechanter Spike. I don't think so. He's just going to attack him with a single Runechanter Spike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5, I think. Maybe 6. We'll see. What does Ben fall to? Goes from 20 down to 14. So it's 5.
It's +5/+5. So it's actually not as much as we thought, yeah. Or +5/+0, right?
Yep.
Still, it's a totally reasonable clock, and Patrick Cox is going to be able to keep making even more of these spirit tokens, which is exactly what he does here.
I mean, Ben had the Wrath, but he still needs some pressure.
This is attack, and there is a Snapcaster Mage, and it looks like it's going to hit an Azorius Charm. Okay.
Yep, Azorius Charm. Get rid of that token. Take 1, go to 13.
One really interesting thing about this board state is look at Ben Friedman's graveyard. It's only 4 cards.
Yeah. Ben's Runechanter Pike is not as good as Pat's.
But it's actually not that far off. It's still +2/+0. And as much milling, self-mill as Patrick Cox was doing, he still only hit 5 instants or sorceries out of the deal. I think he cast most of those. All right, Snapcaster Mage. All right. What is he going to hit?
Dissipate.
Oh, Dissipate, all right.
And that's going to counter the Azorius Charm?
The Azorius Charm, yep. So that's going to give him
7 damage, dropping him to 8.
Yep.
Or 6 damage because the Dissipate gets removed. Play Howled Fountain untapped and pass the turn back. Now Ben's in real trouble. Although Moorland Haunt is exactly what he needs to produce a blocker. Pat's going to remove Talrand, get a 1/1 Spirit Flyer.
And he's just gradually building up. It looks like these spirit tokens are gonna be getting in the way of whatever's wearing a Runechanter's Pike, but the other guys are going to be getting in there.
Yep. So there goes the spirit token into play. And Pat draws for his turn. If he's got an unsummon, if he has a natural unsummon, Ben's just dead unless he's got some sort of counter spell. But Pat swings with the team.
He doesn't care about giving up his Snapcaster or anything. He's just battling in there.
Well, that's time in the round.
Now, they should have a couple of extra minutes here, so if Patrick Cox can keep this level of pressure up, I think he's going to have no problem winning this. But if he can't, if something changes, then the clock might be a factor. They've got 3 minutes of extra time because they're in the feature match area, so they are still in regular time here. They're not on turns or anything.
Ben is taking his time as if they were in turns. Doesn't want to make a mistake. So he's going to make a 1/1 flying spirit token using Moorland Haunt. And he's going to attempt to go to blockers, I assume. Pat lets him. Okay.
All right. So Pat Cox gets in for 2, drops his opponent down to 6, but he's still got a far superior board state currently.
Ben has another land and access to Rewind and Angel.
He's got 2 creatures in his yard as well, so Moreland Haunt is live.
But Pat's going to be able to make Spirit tokens also. Ben thinking over his options. He's going to spend 3 mana and immediately make a Moreland Haunt token.
And he's going to get it equipped up.
Okay.
Now he can actually trade for a token.
5 mana?
What costs 5?
6?
What costs? Oh, is this a Sphinx's Revelation?
Yeah, Sphinx's Revelation for 4.
Wow, okay. So, again, the momentum is firmly over in Pat Cox's side of the table here as he adds yet another instant or sorcery to his yard and makes another token and draws a bunch of cards and gains some life. Pretty productive end step there for him.
And if he drew an unsummon, that would be it.
Does he have it? We see 2 mana up for Ben Friedman. So he could have a negate or something, but Augur of Bolas looks like he's looking for the unsummon here. Does he find one?
I see an Essence Scatter.
Yep. Essence Scatter is all he gets from that.
What else you got, Pat?
I mean, he just drew a bunch of cards, like 4, then 1, then another one.
Yeah, if he's a Snapcaster. There's an unsummoned in Pat's graveyard. Another Augur of Bolas. Here we go.
He's still digging. He knows what he needs.
Dispel?
A Dispel is a reasonable pickup here, but it certainly isn't going to win him the game this turn.
Okay, 2 mana.
Another Augur?
Uncounterable Snapcaster Mage. Targeting unsummon.
Target unsummon. Now, that does remove an unsummon from the yard. I'm assuming it's still lethal, though, because he's getting in for 3 without a Rune Chanter's Pike,
right.
And the Pike only has to add 3 more to make it lethal.
2 more, but yeah.
He's at 6, right?
Yeah, Pat's looking to show lethal. And yeah, that's the match.
And
Pat
Cox
wins.
takes it down to stay at X and 1 here on day 1. That was the last round.
What a match.
Of Standard. That was a really good one. I mean, these matches are tough, right? There's a lot going on.
A lot on the line.
This feels a little bit like the Delver Mirror